During a speech in the House of Lords addressing the growing politicization of the civil service, Baroness Claire Fox delivered a scathing critique of what she described as ideological overreach within government departments. She highlighted the practice of civil servants, including their preferred pronouns in email signatures, as an example of unnecessary virtue signaling, arguing that such actions detract from the impartiality expected of the civil service. Additionally, she specifically called out the head of the Department for Work and Pensions for distributing materials that she claimed were inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. Baroness Fox warned that these practices risk undermining public trust in the neutrality and professionalism of civil servants, urging the government to reaffirm its commitment to non-partisan governance. In today's video, we will watch and react to this, all whilst going over all of the latest news from across the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we do have new One Keir t-shirts available on our website. Go to britishstand.com or check the link in the description. So, have a watch of this.
You'll remember senior civil servants openly in tears the morning after the Brexit vote, or the civil service union threatening to go on strike over the Rwanda scheme. Troubling examples of a politicised civil service. But I want to focus on a more insidious trend, and one in denial. The civil service is drowning in identity and diversity groupthink. It's hiding in plain sight. Every time you get an email with pronouns in the signature, or see civil servants wearing those rainbow progress lanyards, it's a one-sided display of an allegiance to a contentious political ideology. You might agree or disagree with the ideological position that these markers point to, but there's no doubt signing off she, her is as partisan, surely, as ending an email with the slogan adult human female or from the river to the sea. In 2023, DWP civil servant Anna Thomas won a £100,000 settlement after she was wrongfully fired by her department. Her alleged gross misconduct was that she whistle-blew about the DWP's embrace of political ideologies such as critical race theory, which she feared breached the civil service code. Part of her complaint was an all-staff memo from the Permanent Secretary about transforming the department into an anti-racist organisation in the wake of the George Floyd killing. This included circulating BLM-inspired materials asking white staff to assume they were racist. Do we really believe such white privilege-obsessed officials or deaf-throat complainants as providing objective and impartial advice to ministers?
What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments. In other news, Chancellor Rachel Reeves has claimed a third runway at Heathrow would improve air quality by allowing planes to land directly rather than circling London, despite previously opposing airport expansion in her own area. Speaking to the BBC, Reeves argued that changes in aviation technology supported the case for Heathrow expansion. However, it emerged that in 2020, Reeves opposed the £150 million expansion of Leeds Bradford Airport close to her own constituency of Leeds West and Pudsey, which she has represented since 2010. At the time, she argued the Leeds Bradford expansion would significantly increase air and noise pollution and undermine Leeds' commitment to become a carbon-neutral city by 2030. Reeves told the BBC that a lot has changed in terms of aviation, with sustainable aviation fuel changing carbon emissions from flying. She highlighted huge investment going on in electric planes and argued that a third runway would reduce aircraft circling London. The Chancellor stressed that ministers have already approved expansion at Gatwick and London City Airport. She said these developments would be good for investment and trade in our country, and also good for families wanting to go on cheaper holidays. Speaking to Sky News, Reeves warned that ministers opposed to Heathrow expansion will be expected to fall in line, saying the decision would be bound by full collective ministerial responsibility. Environmental groups and the Green Party have strongly opposed the expansion plans, with Brighton Pavilion MP Cian Berry saying, "The aviation lobby is loud and well funded, but the government should instead be listening to scientists and its own climate change committee, which has already urged a halt to overall airport expansion. The previous Labour government's poor record on airport expansion doesn't have to continue." Net Zero Secretary Ed Miliband has warned that a third runway will not proceed if it breaches Britain's carbon targets. Appearing before the Commons Environmental Audit Committee, Miliband said, 100% any aviation expansion must be justified within carbon budgets, and if it can't be justified, it won't go ahead. He stressed that achieving climate goals was a policy of the whole government, including the Chancellor. The expansion could increase Heathrow's annual flights from 480,000 to 720,000, raising concerns about climate impact and noise pollution. The Chancellor acknowledged her pro-growth rhetoric echoed that of former Prime Minister Liz Truss, but insisted her approach was different. She urged international investors to take another look at Britain, saying the government was removing the barriers to investment. Shadow Transport Secretary Gareth Bacon has also warned of major obstacles to the third runway, including its impact on the M25 and the need to purchase around 1,000 local homes. In other news, David Lammy has been accused of misleading the House of Commons over Labour's Chagos deal. A letter was sent to the Foreign Secretary by the campaign group Chagosian Voices after Labour MP Peter Lamb claimed there was evidence that statements made by Lammy in the Commons do not appear to be true. The letter and Lamb's remarks refers to Lammy's claims that the government had kept the Chagosians informed all along the way. This comes as James cleverly doubled down on criticism, claiming that Labour ministers had put themselves in a very weak negotiating position during discussions. On Monday, the former Tory Foreign Secretary claimed he always made sure that certain red lines were in place during talks. Negotiating is one thing, but I always made sure that certain red lines were in place, and if the negotiations crossed those red lines, then I wouldn't have accepted a deal, he told Times Radio. And indeed, over a year's worth of talks, I did not get to a position that I was comfortable with, which is why I never signed off a deal. He accused Labour of changing the UK's position dramatically without keeping them in the loop, adding that they had put themselves in a very weak negotiating position, which is why Mauritius keep coming back for more money and more concessions. However, a spokesman for Downing Street said the government's priority has always been to protect UK and US strategic interests. The legal letter demands Lammy correct the record on comments that the group claimed were demonstrably incorrect. It also urges the government to engage with the Chagosian people instead of simply taking decisions that are thought to be politically expedient. The backlash comes as Chagosian Voices has asked lawyers to challenge the Chagos deal. They claim that Foreign Office Minister Stephen Doughty was refusing to discuss the negotiations with them and said they hadn't even met with Lammy. Although the government said they have been speaking with Chagosians during the talks, the letter claims there was a lack of focus, agenda, or indeed information offered to those individuals directly affected by decisions taken by the British government and decisions taken without proper consultation. It adds that the government has not responded to two letters sent in October and November, which urged them to engage with the indigenous people. Lammy has previously claimed that it was difficult to get one sole view from Chagosians they are in the UK, but added that the government will continue to do all we can to support them. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.